everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an eyeshadow look, and I gotta say I'm sorry for like kind of the mess around me in my room. I am just a mess in general. I just haven't gotten around to cleaning, so if you can see like things on the ground or anything, we're just gonna act like it's not there. We're gonna act like I have an invisible background behind me, and we're gonna move on past it. But today I'm going to be doing an eyeshadow tutorial using the Laura Los Angeles Party Animal palette, and it has 6 eyeshadow colors, and I think I'm going to try and legitimately challenge myself to use all 6 of these bad boys. I'm not 100% sure that that's what's going to happen, but I like all 6 of these shades. I think that they work, oh gosh, I think that they work really, really well together. I think that they're pretty easy colors to work with. I think the only 2 that are pretty similar are this one, and that is Damage Control and Karaoke. But for the most part, I think that these are fantastic eyeshadows and eyeshadow colors. I've had this palette for, I kid you guys not, I think 2 or 3 months now, and I've held off on doing a video with it until now. So I'm really excited to be here giving you guys a video with this. It's going to obviously be much more of a vibrant look, but I used it the day of Halloween when I went to work and I did like a crazy eye look, and I personally really enjoyed that look. So I really just was inspired to do a video with this palette. So we're just going to jump on in. To start, I am going to prime my eyes with the Catrice Cosmetics Eyeshadow Primer. And I'm going to make sure to prime my lower lash line as well, because there's gonna be shadow down there. I didn't finish that statement. I'm just gonna make sure I'm getting the best staying power from the eyeshadows. Okay. Then I'm actually going to use another primer. I'm going to take my NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in Milk, and this is going to go all over the lid. This is not necessarily a step that you need. I just think I've really been getting back into these. X Sparkage used to use specifically this eyeshadow pencil like all the flippin' time, and it just really adds vibrancy to the look that you might not necessarily get just from adding an eyeshadow primer. So I really have been enjoying using a colored base lately. So I'm just gonna stick to that. I'm just blending it very lightly with my finger. I don't want to rub too much because that's gonna eliminate, you know, the base. It's gonna blend it in, and I don't want to blend it too much. I just kind of want to get rid of the harsh line of where that pencil actually went, and kind of blend it a little bit upwards as well where I didn't necessarily put that pencil. So yeah, I'm going to start off using a transition shade, and this is one that's not in the Laura Los Angeles palette because there's no transition shade in here. So I'm going to use my, I'm sure you guys know, the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells palette. I'm going to use this light brown right here with a fluffy crease brush, and it's going in the crease. Now this is again a step that's not quite necessary, and I'm going to be putting color on top of this. Really what I think this does is it makes the eyeshadows go on, if they are going to go on patchy, less patchy, and I just love that they just go on smoother. Like, I really personally think this has a fantastic effect. Again, this is not mandatory, so you know, you don't have to do this, but I think for the effect that I'm going for, I think this is really helpful. Now you could use any matte brown. I'd recommend a matte versus a shimmer, but you could use like a bronzer for this. You don't necessarily have to be using an eyeshadow. This is just, of this palette, that's the color I use the least, so that's kind of how I get the use out of that that color, because I think it's a fantastic color, but when I'm using that palette I tend not to use it. So yeah, going in first with this yellow shade called Isapati. Isapati. And I'm going to take a flat a flat eyeshadow shader brush, and this is from Wet n Wild, and this is just going to go in the inner third of the eyelid, and maybe even a little up into the crease. Like, guys, like, are we seeing this pigmentation? I'm loving it. Like, I've used these shadows several times. I've used them like just more casually and just kind of to add a pop of color. I have used them and created some crazy looks. I just love them. This formula is fantastic. I don't think there's too much fallout, which I really like. Obviously you're going to need to tap off the excess because especially working with super colorful eyeshadows, any sort of fallout that there is that gets on your cheeks, it's going to be harder to clean up, especially if you've already put on your base prior to your eye look, which I have. So I like to tap off the excess with any eyeshadow, but really I make it a point when I'm using colorful shades, because if I have like bright pink under where the fallout is, that's harder to sweep away than like, you know, a light brown. So I would just be cognizant of that for sure with these. Oh my gosh, and yellow's hard, you know, like yellow's a hard shade for brands. So I think that this palette did a really good job with the yellow. Anywho, I'm going to go into the pink now, and this shade right here is called Bottoms Up, and I'm going to use a flat shader brush. This is one from Morphe. Now, if I had to say that one of the shades in particular had the most fallout, this would be the shade for sure. Again, I always make it a point to tap off the excess anyway, but even in the eyeshadow pan, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is some kick up when I'm just putting it on the brush. So just putting this a little bit on top of the yellow and on the middle section of the eyelid. And with these on the eyelids especially, I'm just patting these on. I'm not sweeping them on. That's going to contribute to more fallout as well. I'm just really patting them on, patting over the line where these two colors are meeting and making that gradient. I know I say that a lot because I really do looks with gradients pretty frequently, but I just love that effect, and I think it'll be even more prominent in the crease with the blues, so I'm excited for that. But I'm going to take that yellow, the brush that I used with the yellow, and just go right on top of those, just back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to take another flatter blending brush, or I'm sorry, another flatter eyeshadow brush. This is a dual-ended brush from Luxie. This is the 249, and I'm just going to go in with the orange, which is called Dranks. Dranks. And I'm going to put this on the final section of the eyelid where we don't have any color, and that's just going to meet up with the pink. Now this is something where you're going to want to go back in with the yellow and the pink and revise how they look after you've got all three colors on the lid. This is a lot to put on any eyelid. So after you've got all three colors kind of placed roughly where you want, you know, like for me right now I'm seeing that the yellow section and the yellow portion is a lot bigger than the pink and the orange. So I'm going to put a little bit more pink on top of the yellow, so that way there is a little bit more evenness and you can see all three shades. But you're going to want to evaluate where you stand after you've kind of placed roughly where the other colors are going. If you're just like, well, I've already placed it, I can't, you know, reverse this now unless I use makeup remover, like that's not at all true. You just kind of have to be patient and, you know, evaluate where you want this look to go and what you want it to look like and kind of revise from there. So that's just kind of my 2 cents. Take it with a grain of salt or a grain of drinks. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit more so that you can maybe see the colors a little bit better. And another thing that I would recommend is once you've got the entire look done, going back in and making the colors a little bit more vibrant as well. You're never tied in to what you start with, you know, and the look that you have in your mind initially might not be what actually happens, but that actually could be a blessing in disguise. So really just, you know, go with it. And that's what happened to me on Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, on Halloween. I just kind of went with it and went with how the colors were looking, and I personally really enjoyed the look. So that's what I recommend doing. Okay, so I'm going to take this karaoke shade right here. It's a nice blue toned and a fluffy blending brush. And this is going to go on the outer half of the eyelid. Now, when you're doing this, I recommend taking the brush and holding it at the farthest point back and really just using like super fluffy, light, blending like windshield wiper-ish motions, but like half wiper-ish, because you're gonna want to put the most of the color on this section of your eye right here, and then you're gonna want to blend up from there. You don't want to put too much too far in, because that's going to be harder to blend, and we're also going to be creating the gradient with the lighter blue in here, so just things to keep in mind. Okie dokie. So, next I'm going to take that shade Damage Control right here, and what brush am I going to take? I'm going to take another dual-ended brush. This is one from Crown Brush, and I'm going to just kind of get it all on it, get it on the brush. And this is going to be the bridge, if you will, between the dark blue and the yellow. And it's just going to blend right in with the two colors. I'm really liking that because you can see like almost like a green form between Damage Control and It's a Party, and I think that looks really, really nice. So blend, 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 honey. So this is a crazy eye look, okay? Like, I recognize that this isn't everybody's like Tuesday cup of tea, but I'm really, really enjoying this. I think that the colors are just so pretty. I think that they blend so well together, and I've been able to get all 6 in. No, I haven't. Hungover is still crap. Hungover still needs to be, but I'll put that on the lower lash line. That was my thought. Okay, 5 out of 6 colors in, and I need to do a little bit of erasing with some highlight underneath the brow bone, which this palette also does not come with. So what do I want to use for that? Okay, so for my highlight, I'm actually going to use a highlighter, and I'm going to use the Winky Lux Charm Holographic Highlighter and a Real Techniques brush, the Deluxe Crease Brush. And this is just going to go underneath the brow bone. And I'm kind of like buffing it in to the edges of the eyeshadows too, so that they're not as stark of edges for the eyeshadows. Like, you can't tell as easily where the blending stopped. My eyebrows are looking some type of way, and I'm not having it. Like, not some type of good way. So I'm really liking how this has turned out so far. I'm thinking the only color that I'm not seeing as much as I would like to see is the orange. So I'm going to kind of go back in with that and maybe add a little bit more. But yeah, the reason I chose the color order I did is because A, yellow being in the inner corner makes the most logical sense because it's the lightest color in the palette, and I wanted to blend into a gradient on the eyelid that made sense. So yellow, pink, and orange in this palette, it makes sense for them to be on the eyelid. In your crease, you want to be darker typically, okay? So this is kind of like the structure that I typically go for. So because of that, you know, the blues made sense, and I really liked that the yellow kind of is popping up into the crease. I think that was a really nice effect, and I think that that kind of, that the blue just blends nicely. Almost, it looks almost like a green, and I really am digging that. But the orange being on the outer quarter versus being in the middle, blue and orange are complementary colors. So it made sense, in my opinion, to put the orange on the outer corner and have that kind of lead up into the blue. That's just my opinion though. You could easily switch any of these colors around in any order that, you know, you wish, and it's not, you know, the end of the world or a big deal or anything. That's just my logic behind it. Okay, now I'm going to take a pencil brush, and this is just one from Morphe, and I'm going to go into this final purple shade right here, this hung over shade, and I'm going to smudge this guy on the lower lash line. I'm thinking I might want to put another color down there, so right now I'm just going to smudge it on the lower half. Yeah, so I'm thinking, I can't decide if I want to take the pink down with this purple or if I want to take the yellow down. I'm thinking really the yellow. So I'm going to take another brush and I'm going to go in with the yellow. And just kind of smudge these two colors together. But alas, again, you could have taken any color. Like I didn't need to have taken the yellow. I just kind of liked the idea of the yellow, and I think it looks nice, but I don't think you needed to have done that. You could have taken the pink. You could have taken really one of the blues either. It was really either the pink or the yellow in my opinion. But yeah, I think this palette is great, and it's really performed great for me thus far with this look. I'm going to take my nano liner from Absolute New York and put that on the upper lash line and use my Makeup Forever black eyeliner and put that in the waterline, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and did my brows as well, and I used the IT Cosmetics Brow Power in Universal Taupe for that. I actually put an inner corner highlight in as well, so I just used the Winky Lux highlighter that I used for my brow bone and a little bit of that NYX eyeshadow pencil in Milk. And I put the NYX pencil down first and then blended it out a little bit and put the Winky Lux highlighter on top of that, and I think that looked really nice, especially since that's got like an iridescent pinky blue shade to it. And I used the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir Major Volume Mascara in Noir for my mascara. I think this would be a fantastic look for false eyelashes, although I don't tend to wear those very often. I think I wore them last weekend. I don't dislike them, I just don't tend to wear them too often, so that's kind of why I'm opting out of that. But if you have them, wear them and flaunt them. I'm going to zoom back out. So let's see here, what lip color do we want? Do we want that? No. Do we want purple? That's kind of an interesting concept. Let's just do a soft pink. So this is my CoverGirl Oh Sugar lipstick in the shade number 4 Taffy. And it's super soft, I think. I mean, this makes it look super soft. It's coming off a little darker than I was expecting. Okay, alright, that's okay. It's just kind of different. I don't know. I mean, I like that. It's neutral, which is probably best for this look, but when you have it in a tube like this and your shade is not baby doll pink and it's more of a neutrally color, like, I'm not a fan of that kind of marketing, because I think that's incredibly misleading on CoverGirl's part. Let's see. This other one that I have from them, it's the Oh Sugar one in the shade Caramel. It's much more true to packaging, I guess. It's a lot sheerer. That's what this packaging looks like, and it's right there, so it's a lot more sheer of a shade, but I'm kind of on the fence about that, but I do like the lip color. Probably, again, like I said, neutral's probably the better route for a crazy look like this, but you could also do a crazy shade, like if you wanted to opt for bright pink or bright blue, like, totally could. So yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't find my necklace, and I got me worried that I didn't have it on. Crisis averted. Okay, so that is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to see any other looks from this palette, maybe something that doesn't incorporate all 6 shades, or if you guys are interested in seeing anything else, please leave that in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave to stay up to date on all of my latest content, and I will see you guys next time.